in Zoom language.
That's a Zoom lining thing? I love it. I'm on the plan. Teach me more. Teach me more. Good morning, Jim. How cute that you're showing up and saying hi. What's going on? I love it.
Good morning.
Hello, hello, hello. Oh my gosh, you know how I get excited. Hello, Miss Monica, Katrina, Denise, and Ashley. I know I owe you a return. I'm changing our appointment. Don't worry.
I love your background, Amy.
This is my apartment in New York City. It's for sale. So if anybody, this is what we've done the past 6 months of COVID. We've renovated to give it a little, I bought a few pillows, as you can see. My husband thinks I've gone pillow crazy, but pillows really jazz the joint up. Anyway, so if you're in this market for a cute nugget, 1 bedroom, I shouldn't probably promote my sale here, but why the heck not? You never know, right? It is the time to buy in New York for sure. So anyway, thank you for saying that. Cute, cute, cute. Yeah, it's a fun background. So guys, I'm going to jump in for those that don't know the names like Katrina, Kimmich. I'm not sure we've met before, but again, great to see everybody. Kristen Steinman, I see a phone, but not a face. I don't know that name, maybe off the cuff. And if I do, forgive me. You know how I feel. I always want to make sure everybody feels included and knows that I do or have not met you, but it's just a joyful place that you're here. And so thanks. We welcome to Get Your Professional Edge On. I really believe in that statement. This is an industry insights career Zoom for all of you and for me. My gosh, don't ever forget how important this is to me. Thank you for educating me so much within your industries, with what's happening in the marketplace. It's a constant learning curve right now in the hiring game, in the recruiting game, and even just shifts in the market on the whole. So welcome to Get Your Professional Edge On. I am Amy Cole. I am a staffing expert of the last 21 years. I can't believe I can say that number. My sister and I started this 21 years ago, and we've done executive search for apparel, for home and beauty, all consumer goods, mostly manufacturing, designing a product, sourcing a product, delivering a product, selling a product, and servicing, your department stores, your mass markets, but consumer goods. And in the past 7 years, I would say we've really done the slow pivot. Now we're doing the quickie pivot to digital. Everybody is now online. And as I say every week, and I hope we took this away from our last week's speaker, that, it's just a shift in the delivery model. It's not a shift in anything else. We're still designing, we're still putting products out there, we're still purchasing products and services, but now you're doing it online. So as a staffing expert, I need to understand the nuances of all these shifts in the marketplace so that when I speak to clients that are hiring, I can say, yes, I have the right candidate, and I can then help you, if you're all here looking for a role, how to repackage and realign your skill set so that it's valuable today and relevant. You have the relevancy. You just need to understand how to pivot it a little bit, tie it up in a bow, and put that package out there so it makes more sense to what the market's looking for today. I'm also a career coach and a leadership and development speaker. And that's been a fun thing to share and even to watch my evolution as an entrepreneur and a recruiter, and then added coaching in a couple of years ago and added speaking and training, probably closer to the last 5 years. So all of them I love. I'm a people girl, so that's great. This virtual breakfast is informational, insightful, and inspirational. We are all here. It's an hour resource. We are career connections for each other. We are a network. So there are leaders on the call. There are professionals on the call. There are recruiters on the call. I should say HR people in the industry that I have had relationships with in staffing. So it is really a place for us to be ourselves. It's definitely a highly mission-driven network that I surround myself with. As I always say, I spiral up, we spiral up as individuals. And that is a piece of what good networking does for all of us. We can get into that another time. I actually teach on spiraling up in the networking game and how to do that effectively and efficiently. And we're all together learning how to adapt to this new reality. So it is an empowerment hour. There's a place of accountability here for those that continue to show up every Wednesday. It is a great habit and a great discipline. We're going to talk a little bit about habits today. And it's I always try to remind everybody that I personally am faith-based. I want to share that love of God for you through me. But if it's not you and you're just a source person, doesn't matter. It is, I am open to all, and you hope you are all open to all. But I say that we are faith-based, meaning that we have trust that where we're headed is in the right direction. Where we are all headed is in the right direction, and that we're not fear-based. So faith-based versus fear-based. And I probably say it every week, and I don't want to be too boring, but we're either in a couple of places. You're either fear-focused right now, unfocused. And again, this also is a place of no judgment. Fear-focused, unfocused, or strategy-focused. I love those three little nuggets. I love them. Because I have to ask myself, Aim, are you panicked today? Or is it just that you're just not in the mood? That happens. Or am I strategy focused and I'm on a tear? So we're here to kind of encourage each other to do the 1, 2, 3 punch and say, let's keep it strategy focused as much as possible, but knowing that fear and unfocus is going to come in and it's no big deal. So it's a lot of new learning here, a lot of new challenges here also, because you're going to hear things that say, oh, I could never make it in that category when you hear from some of our industry experts. That isn't the case. We have the wherewithal to build and to continue to grow. I mean, we've got this. I mean, we've got this specifically because we're stronger together. So you're in our inner circle. We very much value all of your insights. Thank you when I call on you that you're open and you're being willing to be vulnerable and share. So for those that are new, if I do call on you, we just ask what's going on in your world and let's have some fun and talk about it. But also I ask that you show up, right? This is the new normal. This Zoom experience is the new normal. This is how you're interviewing. This is how you're delivering presentations. This is how you are wooing clients. This isn't going away at all. COVID may come and go, and it will, but because this has been so effective, we are adapting to this new digital concept of communication at a rate that is at the speed of light. And companies are now looking at 41%, only 41% of companies are going to stick with a hybrid or 100% remote workforce. So what does that mean to you and me? It means that I hope you all own a ring light. That this ring light for $14.99 at Amazon is on your computer so that you look well lit. When you go to a career or an industry association breakfast, you show up with lips on, you got the heels on, right? Your hair is combed. Put your face out there, everybody. For those that are just on a phone call right now and just decided that they're going to multitask, which is fine. I'm not judging, so don't take it that way. But guess what? I am going to tell you that those that show up are going to make the difference. The people that work the room at the Chamber of Commerce breakfast or at your industry association meeting or at your conference are the winners. And this is now your association breakfast. So if I can help you or empower you and be loving to you and say, this is the new norm, I know you know that part, but the new norm is that you're a part of it in a big way. That you do have the capability of understanding what it takes to digitally convert your message. I just did a training on how important adapting to technology is to every company, individual, team, and organization's success. Adopting technology. Adopting it, not just, okay, I can do it and I get to sign in and it works for me. I signed in and I'm on that program. How do you make that program more personalized? How do you make that experience more like you did sit down and have a coffee? Now I'm having the same challenges because I'm introducing myself to new companies and saying, do you want me to recruit for you? And I now need to come up with some type of way. And I feel as though it's just an engagement piece to keep them engaged so that it just isn't just a quick phone call. Can I get you on a Zoom? Because I used to show up at your office and say, oh, I would love to staff you. I think we'd do well together. And that's yet another touch point and a bonding moment, right? For a client and a service. That's Amy and my client. So now the bonding moment has to go from the phone, nice to have spoken to you. Would you have 4 minutes next week to get on a quick Zoom so I can better get to know your company and your needs? Well, we don't really need to do that, Amy, right now. So I've got to think of a new way to get that to that next level step. It's easy to hang up a phone and then they're not sure they need me. But the minute you start to Zoom with people, you are building that bond, right? I'm showing up at their office. So I share all this stuff for you guys to think, okay? As you're networking, as you're deciding how to reposition yourself for roles and how you are building out the network through which you're going to get that new job. So what happens at Virtual Breakfast every week? We always have inspired guest experts. We've got two darling, very dear people to me this week. It's industry intel. It's market job insights also. It's always about the job market, particularly to speak to this audience so that we can see what's going on out there and where do we fit. And it's what I like to say about the virtual breakfast and why it came to pass right on March 25th last year. It's a new paradigm, right? It's a new work-life paradigm, as we just talked about it. And are we all in uncharted territory? Kind of. Are we getting more used to it? Kind of. Is it still, shoot? Yes. So it's one of those places where I hate to say it because I'm speaking to executives every single day, whether they're working or they're looking for work. And it is time to pivot or pound the pavement. It is a pivot or pound the pavement moment in everyone's industry. Mostly everyone's industry. Technology is probably the only industry, and I'm talking engineers and software, that is on a huge trajectory. Those are in a huge trajectory. But healthcare is growing. Okay, I've got stats on healthcare growing, but they're growing in their own way too. They're not on fire. Healthcare hasn't changed. The same amount of people need healthcare. We all need healthcare. It's not the category of healthcare that's on fire. It's the way they're delivering the healthcare that's on fire. Right now, apparel and manufacturing clothing isn't on fire. Yes, e-com is on fire in selling the clothing, but people are buying less clothes now because we are not going to the office. We are not interacting. So apparel, the category, is not on fire. The e-commerce segment of apparel is growing. I don't know if you're understanding these little nuances, but I'm trying to be so that we understand the market. That's critical. And that's what we do at Virtual Breakfast. Critical. What's going on in the market? What is going on in the market, right? God's got a plan for you and me, and we have to have faith and we have to open up our hearts to all this. And the market is opening. I have to say that I have more and more people calling me saying, I'm on my third round, but it went to the wayside or something. Still, it's not yummy, yummy, yummy. Oh my gosh, but it is opening. And that's a great thing. So welcome to Virtual Breakfast. All that to say welcome, a lot of information in the welcome, but also that, I don't have time to tell you everything about how you can best position yourself in this quick hour because we do a lot of different things. We speak to you, we speak to our guests, but hang out and I will share a way in a little bit later on how you can learn how to best position yourself right now in this challenging market. And we offer coaching, we offer different group things, we offer independent things, individual one-on-ones, and I will get to that a little later. It's not the important thing this very minute, but I do want you to know that I am here to help you pinpoint and target yourself with confidence to figure out where you need to go next in your job and in your career search. So hang out, stay out, and be together, but you are in the right place. This is for you. If you're looking for a little uplift, if you're looking for some intel, if you're looking for some coaching, you hit it. You showed up. You're right here. You're right here. So last week we talked about mindset as a choice and living beyond our feelings, that your feelings can come and go. Today's a blue day. Yesterday felt better. It's a feeling. When really we have to live beyond those feelings and allow ourselves to trust and know that there is a bigger plan and a greater place for us to go if right now isn't the perfect spot. And life is the journey and it's always moving anyway. So it's that abundant thinking that's killer, that abundant thinking, that self-acceptance of where we are, that is really important in living beyond your feelings and knowing, just trusting that although it isn't today the greatest feeling, there will be better. So it's that mind shift that I like to talk about, and that optimism, right? That hope, the faith, the hope, giving each other a lift when you need a lift. Well, it's funny because I always, I do my darndest. You know me well. I tend to write in a journal and I'm a big scripture girl. But lately I have been broken. Since I talked to you guys last week, honest to goodness. Yeah. And no negative delete, even though it's a good fix. I can't negative delete it. That's when you have a negative thought and you tell your brain, shift gears, rewire, negative delete. No, this one isn't mental. It is physical. I have this crazy, I don't know, don't ask. I'm not looking for sympathy, but it's this pinch behind my shoulder blade that keeps giving me this crazy shooting pain to the point where when I breathe sometimes it hurts. Anyway, I think what's upsetting me the most, number one, I can't stand the pain. Number two, and I'm not being dramatic, actually, it's pretty painful, but it's killing my productivity. I'm Amy productive. I'm always doing, and it's like, aim, come on. And it isn't, I can't do this because I can't just zap it away. So I don't know. Who watched the Super Bowl last week as I get into all this stuff? Thumbs up. Exactly, right? All right, well, truth be told, I fell asleep probably like 4 minutes after the second half. And I actually felt kind of badly for cute Mahomes. I mean, he had an off day. That's all there is to it. That guy I hope he went home and loved himself and said, listen, I did what I did, but there's other chances for me. With 20 years below, junior to Tom Brady, he's got some time. But, he also was, he was up against the superhero, right? So, how do you beat Tom Brady? And he's a family favorite since I'm from New England, but the guy just can't be beat, right? This is somebody to take a look at. He's got the skills, right? He has mastered the mental game. In fairness to Tom Brady, he has mastered the mental game. And of course, he's this picture of health, right? Thanks for the shooting pain, Amy Cole. No sugar, no white flour, no coffee, no alcohol. All plant-based, organic, local, of course, a chef. But that said, I give him tons of credit. The guy has discipline. It's a mindset, right? Good habits are a choice, right? And that's what it takes to win 7 Super Bowls, is good habits. Good habits can be learned. It takes 21 days to start a habit and 90 days to make it a lifestyle. So some people say the guy's a fanatic, right? Which he could be, right? He's just, he's a lunatic. But his behavior is actual scriptural, and reaching optimal success and happiness means treating your mind, body, and spirit with the utmost regard. Your body is a temple, and I know Coach Dibbs is loving all of this right now. Health and wellness and clarity and productivity go hand in hand. And this is kind of what I mean about this silly thing in the back of my shoulder, right? I cannot achieve greater focus or clarity with this silliness bothering me, right? I have to have a greater reverence for my body, like treating my body like a temple, so that we can then feed our mind and our spirit, because this distraction is bothering me. Right? And creating these good habits is what it takes to find a job. It takes good habits to reach optimal clarity and focus in your job search, in industry exploration. Focus, keeping on the game, putting that sticky note there and knowing that that's the ultimate plan. We've talked about that part too, right? And so even though, right now, as I say, I'm finding myself broken, right? I need to get this body greased and moving. And basically, I'm noticing that I'm not that clear because I can't seem to, I don't know what to say, but I've been thinking about this. It's like, why am I and I'm lazy a little bit. Yes, it's COVID, but honestly, it's like I've let the habit go. I decided to really take a look at this. I've let the habit go. I'm touching my toes with my yoga mat in the living room. Hello, cute living room, yoga mat. You get where that's going. But I'm not really working the body. I'm not really staying at my optimal. And I have no one else to blame. And I'm not really blaming myself. I'm just noticing of it. Don't forget that. We don't want to be self-condemning, right? But I'd rather roll over than get up. So I kind of am making excuses and not doing it. And letting this computer, has anyone been doing this? Letting the computer take over, right? You're done for the day. And I'm not kidding. It's like invading my mind. Maybe I am kidding, but you get what I mean. It's so hard to walk away from this computer because so much is done here today. Work, play, ordering things, getting back to people, right? And what I'm saying to myself is I just need to realign. Actually, I don't want to say need. Oh my gosh, what a catch. Negative delete, negative delete. That's a great example. I don't need to realign because that's telling me that I'm doing something wrong, right? I'm stating that I'm already wrong. And it's not wrong per se. It's just not the best thing for me right now. I do need to realign. It's just not the best thing for me. My habits are not benefiting me. So I need to say instead, I'd like to realign. That's funny. That just happened on the fly. Negative delete. I'd like to realign. I'd like to get in the Tom Brady mode. I want to build a better habit. I want to set a better discipline for myself. I would like to walk away from the computer. I would like to sit and read the Bible. I would like to get out. Guys, I take days where I don't leave the apartment. I'm sure I'm not alone. I cannot be alone in this, but that's not wonderful for our mindset, our clarity and focus, right? It's just adding to that shoulder pain, right? So I would like to be just hanging out. But if I don't set that allocated time, it won't happen. So I would like to read something that's fun, Elle Decor, all the housey magazines, and not Harvard Business Review and Forbes, which is always by the bed, which is wonderful for my business. So you see, I need it all, but I would like to take more time for Amy Cole, to walk into house projects and have fun, right? To pay more attention to my needs, to pay more attention to your needs. You deserve that downtime. Right now, as that people are hanging on and looking for work and networking and calling. I do say this often, you can't do it for 8 hours a day. There's just no way. There's just no way. It's not productive. So take this downtime, and I'm preaching to myself again, to fuel your uptime, to fuel your uptime. And we've got to trust in the fact that God created the world in 7 days. And on the seventh day, he told us to rest. He created it in 6 days. On the seventh day, said it was a day of rest. And many religious groups choose one day where it is a resting time, or praying 3 times a day, like the Muslims. This is when we are told to sit and just be. Allow something to feed into our spirit instead of running, getting on the computer. It will alleviate the shoulder pain. I'm not kidding, and I'm going to do it. Today at 3:30, I'm having my toes and nails done. Crazy, right? You think, oh, come on. Probably 3:25, I'm going to go, no, I can't do it. I'm too busy. But I put it in the calendar today. Why? I've worked like a dog. I get it. I worked all weekend. I get it. Now I get to take an hour and a half to walk out this door and do something, right? Because the joy of the Lord is your strength. He's got that plan. He knows what door is going to open for you. You don't need to be doing it all day. And I'm going to give you a funny statistic that you're going to laugh at. And then I want to ask everybody in the chat if you guys are feeling the same thing. Scandinavian countries, you're going to love this. It's kind of fun. Scandinavian countries, they make up 3 of the top 6 most productive companies. Scandinavian countries, so that's Norway, Denmark, Sweden. And basically the common denominator within their whole groups is they never work more than 40 hours a week. That's just not who they are. They're not like the Spanish taking a siesta and having cocktails. In Spain, they work a lot more hours, even though they take that break in the afternoon. But Scandinavian countries do not, and they really value work-life balance. They value it. They value that work-life balance. So for fun, let's just chat the chat for 2 seconds. Is anyone else feeling the same, where they're just constantly rolling and they know that they need, but they don't need, they would like to, don't need, negative delete, you would like to change it up to more self-care and doing things that are actually good for your spirit and your mind and your body, so that you can be more productive in the business things that you're trying to do. I'd love to see what's going on for everybody. What's going on? True or not true? Do you find it? Do you take? Amen, sister. I love it. Yes, yes, yes. True. Cindy Ray, true. Thankful. So true. Yep. I want to see the chat. Let me tell. Oh my gosh, look at you guys go. Yes, yes, yes. Already doing yoga. Yes, Ashley Priest. Good. True. Good. So true. Thankfully, I'm on that path. Good job. Yes. Good. Okay, good. I'm constantly rolling. Now, what does that mean? I'm constantly rolling, Elka. Keep typing. In a good way or a bad way? Or am I behind a couple chats because I can't chat and talk? Work. Yeah. Bad way. Okay. Yep. Hillary Lambert. Oh boy, I'm going to ask you for some exercises. Telecoaching it. Yes. So good, guys. This is why I share this stuff, is just to say that we're all in the same boat, and but to be aware, to be aware. Yes, John Lee, good for you every day. And that was a me thing, and it should be a me thing, and it actually is kind of a me personality. But you let it go. That's one of the other pieces. Is you let it go, and then all of a sudden you have to have some silly shoulder to make you say, "Let's get this act together." All right. Well, listen, it is hard to find time for self-care, Ziona. It absolutely is. And that's why it has to become the Tom Brady discipline. We all tell us he's a lunatic. He doesn't eat white. He doesn't do this. But the benefit for the outside, the benefit is there. It takes a discipline, but that's all it takes. Okay. So today we are going to talk a lot about also in opening up your heart to the way that you already do your job, but where is it happening somewhere else? I think people get sick of the things, transferable skills, but can I tell you what? They're a big topic. It is a huge topic right now in the category of hiring, transferable skills. I am helping men and women package, and Jim can probably speak to this too, we'll get back to him later, about transferring your skill, because there's industries that are shrinking, guys. I am currently with a great deal of my staffing being in apparel. They are not using Amy Cole. They're not hiring. That's all there is to it. And if they are, they're hiring in a different category, okay, or in different jobs of apparel. So that transferable skill makes you the most pressing person out there. Right? How you can package it for them is what I'm trying to say. If I'm not being clear, I will try to help you. But I want to talk to two people that have worked with me independently, also just dear friends in the marketplace. We met each other through Amy Cole Connect, and that's how we build my business and my friendships. But now, as you all know how this thing works, we're buddies. So I'm going to invite Monica Murphy to come on and say hello. Miss Monica, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. I'm going to pin you. How are you? Remove all spotlights, okay? Good morning, Miss Monica. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Can you up your volume a little? Okay. I will give you a little background on Monica as we chat. Monica comes from, first of all, she's just a darling human being and amazing. But she has had corporate roles within the design, technical design category with large companies, private label, notations, and other companies. And she is now an Alpha Broder, which is a company that I didn't know, but she'd been in because Monica's in the Philadelphia area, right, Monica? Welcome, yeah. Big Bell, the Liberty Bell. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, and I want to chat with you a little bit about the category of technical design, the changes you've seen in it. First of all, name, title, and industry, and then you just landed a job. Amen, hallelujah. You were a part of Job Search University, and you crushed it. You did some good negotiating, and you landed in a new place in a whole new category. So, can you name, title, industry, little tidbit life, and then how it happens?
Okay, so can you hear me better now?
Yes, I can.
Turned it all the way up. So okay.
Yep.
Okay, so Monica Murphy, technical designer. Like you said, outside of Philadelphia. I would say that like what I've seen, well, I started off at Notations. That was like my first in job, and it was a lot like what I've just kind of pivoted to, in that where I started off was in a domestic sense. So now I've got a job at a fire resistant clothing company. So if you think about that customer, it's a lot of utility workers. They're the essential workers. It's actually a category I never even thought of before. And it makes total sense, but I just never thought about it. And it's regular apparel. It's just made with fireproof fabric or fire resistant fabric. So you're still making, it's a lot of men, so it's menswear mainly. And you're just making a lot of the same things that you would make for men that go to work. So same button-up shirts, but it's just made with a non-combustible cotton. So that's fascinating, but the customer itself is a USA kind of customer. So it's all about making it here. So you're back to cutting rooms and understanding markers and things like that, which is how I started, but then everything shifted overseas. So now I'm back to relearning yields and markers, and it's not really relearning, but refreshing for me.
Sure.
So I had that initial skill that I was able to use to go in a way back to the old school way of manufacturing.
Now you say you never thought of this. I honestly, when you called me and we were talking about how do we navigate through some of the interview process and the salary negotiation, it is a huge market, right?
Mhm.
So,
It's
so
growing. I mean, they had no problems during COVID. If anything, they saw their profits increase.
Mhm.
They also, things I just never thought about the industry that way. So they, how the whole mask shortage we had for hospital workers, they also needed fireproof masks for these, workers who, because it's not just utilities, it's anything that's combustible.
Okay.
So, you've got all this fireproof clothing on. Well, you don't want this thing that's going across your
Right.
face.
Yeah.
Um, so that
Wow.
was huge. They had to quickly develop a fireproof mask and get it out and get it made. And even now they're having to adjust it as, new guidelines come out as to what's a better mask. And then you have to keep it breathable. So, so that helped to increase profits. But because it's essential, because it's, not a job that stopped, if anything, they may have added workers themselves in their industry. It's just growing.
And I love that it's all made in the USA.
Yes.
And what is happening, yeah, this market niche is very fascinating. Mariana is saying in the chat, it is fascinating. And for you, I know that the skill set is the same. What happened in the interview process? Did you just open your heart to thinking this new thing, or they found you? Or I'd love to hear a little bit about that because we all like to know.
So they totally found me. I was not real. I was in Job Search University, but I don't know. We were talking more about career transition. I was kind of like, I wanted to leave apparel, but didn't because it's my first love. But I kind of just wanted more stability. So I was kind of not in a searching, I guess an inner search. So I'm very much about going within, and just trying to figure out my path that I wanted, what I wanted in my work environment, all those things. So I was really creating my list. I was taking all my notes from you as to what to do. I hadn't necessarily put it into place yet because I was still figuring out, like, do I want to pivot to project management and architecture or something like that? So I was really creating like my dream list, and they contacted me on LinkedIn. And I have this personal thing about, like, I feel like a lot of times your initial reaction to anything that's outside of your thought is no. And I have this rule that I've kind of adopted over the last couple of years is to not say no, explore, because I would rather a lot of times say, oh, this wasn't the right move, than to sit there and go, oh, I wonder what would have happened if I had done that.
Good
Or I
job.
wonder what would have happened if I took that call.
Yeah.
Like the worst thing that was going to happen was they were going to offer me the job and I didn't want it. So,
That's a
but
good
they wouldn't
attitude.
offer me
No,
the job and
you
I
need
keep
to.
doing what I was doing. I was very, and I was, as you know, I was very into charity at the time. So, um, yeah, I was more like, I was very happy to just be helping people with COVID relief and everything like that. So it was more just like a universal gift that appeared, and I explored it. And it's not what I wouldn't say it was like my dream, but I also think that I have this other saying of I'm always where I need to be. So I had it at my previous job that I loved before COVID hit, and the whole department was put on freeze. The I loved that job, and I found myself referencing back a lot to a job I thought was the worst thing I ever experienced in my life. But it just turned out that I learned a lot from it. So at that time, I thought it was misery, but it turned out that I was where I needed to be. So I remind myself of that whenever I'm really low or something, like I'm exactly where I need to be. Even if it's a lesson, it's it's for my best. It's for my highest good. It's for my best.
Good for you. Good for you. I have one last question for fun. Are you remote every day or are you actually in an office?
Well, because it's product development, you have to go in occasionally. So for the most part, we are remote. Um, but so because of markers, so that's the one fun thing about Made in the US that I did not miss, is the finickiness of some cutting rooms. And everyone's very particular. So everyone has their own things. We're trying to get all of our cutting rooms digital, but there are a couple that we still have to mail them the markers. So we have to go in for that. And then also like samples. So when you make in the US, you also have to send out for sample making. I mean, I know there's full service factories in the US, but they usually cost more than the cutting room
Yep.
and sewing floor. So yeah, so we go in at least, I mean, sometimes I've gone a couple days, I mean, a couple weeks without going in, but it's occasional, but we alternate. So because they're essential, they're actually very, and safety, they're very health focused on this. So
Good for you. Well, thank you for sharing. It is so good to see you. I'm so proud of how you also navigated. We're not going to tell the world, but Monica crushed it in the salary negotiations, which is, and because people are thinking right now that you've got to take a downturn, and we won't go into everybody's personal business, but you didn't do that. You navigated it through sharing what your value was, and that's exactly how you do it. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Great to see you. Go, Monica. Diana says, of course, your fan club, your fan club. So now I want to, we're staying in the technical design field today, and I'm going to invite Alka to come and be our spotlight. Look at you, gorgeous woman, all set up. Plant and all, I love it, in the backyard or in the you got some good freedom. So Alka Chopra is and I want to just be fair to everybody here, she is a senior director of technical. And we are going to talk a lot about what she is doing on that corporate level. Monica would be a teammate of hers, let's say, if they were in the same company. But in fairness, she is running strategy for technology and technical design at a very large global organization. So Alka, one of the biggest things that, number one, hello and thank you so much. Love having you, love having you. But you've led global teams, okay? I mean, you're not fooling around here. You've devised business processes to improve tech pack accuracy, for example. I know that you and I we worked together. You've moved their needle for them from 41 to 97% of accuracy. In your world, Monica's talking about touching and feeling a marker again. Let's talk in your world, what's happening. First name, title, and industry, and then what in your world are you seeing in the technical design happen that's been so imperative and not catastrophic, but disruptive in the market?
Well, thanks, Amy. It's always a pleasure to speak with you and everybody else. Good morning. My name is Alka Chopra. I am in the manufacturing field in clothing. And, and my title is a senior technical designer, senior director technical design. So I think, Amy, you very rightfully said, I think I have evolved in my career from actually setting up technical design departments in region, in different countries. And I mean, just to name a few, in some countries in Africa, some in Bangladesh, some in India, some in China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, like pretty much all over the world. And even set up some technical design departments within the US in companies like, Toys R Us. They didn't have a formal technical design department. They were pretty much running with freelancers, right? So that has been my expertise. And so introducing something new is something that I really like doing, and it always has called for my passion. So, in the last couple of years, digital is like a big thing. We were talking about technology earlier, right, Amy? And I think digital is a big world. Everything is moving into digital, especially in, what we thought would be fast, but COVID only pushed it faster.
Yeah.
I think all companies are looking into, I think right now we are in that push model of pushing product into the consumer. It's slowly changing, like Monica was saying, right?
Say that again, Alka. What do you mean pushing product into
We're
consumer?
still making product, right? We make the product and tell the consumer, here, buy it, right? I think Monica is kind of like in that phase of that, they're trying to they're trying to pull the information of what's wanted and then giving it out, right? So I think heading in the right direction is where her company is going and realizing. So I think that's the mindset that we need to change.
Meaning let the demand determine your direction.
Correct.
Got it.
Correct. And right now the demand is nobody's traveling. How do you sell product? How do you, how do you sell it not just to the end consumer, but even to your customer if you're a wholesaler? How do you communicate with your suppliers who are overseas? Because you travel. I mean, I traveled like 4 times a year, and I haven't traveled for a whole year. I haven't seen my mom, who's 91, for a whole year. But it is what it is. We're fortunate, on the other hand, that we have technology like Zoom or WebExes or WhatsApp or whatever to communicate with professional and our personal people. Imagine if the same situation had happened 25 years ago, what it would have done. So there's so much to be fortunate for. I mean, yes, a lot of lives gone. It's a huge pandemic, but there have been good things that have come out of it. It's the new way of working, new way of dealing with people. So I mean, on and on, try and focus on the positive, less on the negative.
Absolutely. Well, that's a me thing. I love that for that. So let's talk to, you are instilling, or I should say, you are launching digital programs within your organization. What would you say? I mean, sorry, but you did it through growing with them, or did you go and get outsourced certification so that you could become?
No, we grew it with them, with the organizations. Any technology that we've always done is that we have grown with the technology. I've started in just not, in my current role, but even in my other companies where we started with technology. Just to give you an example from like the way past is that we were probably one of the first few companies who even got a remote email where we could send out email like over 25 years ago. And that was like an unknown at that time.
But how about you personally adapting to it? Are you just a techie girl? Because I mean, you are a techie person.
I am. I mean, anything to do with news, sign me up, and I'm in it, right? I mean, it's like if I could afford the Tesla, I would buy it. It's like if I could afford the next coming up new technology, I'm totally in it. So it kind of like speaks to me. It's scary also at the same time because you're venturing into something new. But I think my background has always been like just go out for doing something that's completely out of the norm.
Okay. Now, I don't know that right now you guys are hiring. I don't need you to share what company you're with. I know that's proprietary for a minute, but tell me what is happening in the company's hiring, our company's hiring. What's going on?
I think companies have started to do, a couple of months ago, they were inquiring. There was a lot of inquiring going on and there was no hiring. I think it's slowly evolving. It's slowly shifting. You can see that companies are now talking about, it's not still back to pre-COVID days, but people have started to talk about hiring. And, I'm hearing people get hired here and there occasionally versus I wasn't seeing that earlier.
Right. And I think that's the sense that I'm getting out there right now as well, which is I should say there's more inquiry. I don't know that they're closing the deal, but I think there's more inquiry. Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to add something else, when you were talking about, earlier in the morning, you were talking about what do we need to do and what do we need to talk and how do we convince people? I think something that I read recently in one of the articles was, how you talk to people is understanding or the company's values, right? Understand what their values are and talk to them through their values. I think you'll have a much stronger success, which I do, but just for something that it's kind of like I'd never thought about it in that way, but you learn every single day, right? And I've had a lot of success doing that.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, actually, and you know what? That is a very, very, very strong point. And one of the things, and you were in class with me too, is listening right now. I don't know if I've said this and I'm boring people, but listening, if I've said it too much, listening, because the Zoom platform, people talk over each other. You can't read people's body language. When you interview, you can read the body language of the girl. Is she checking your email? Is she looking at the blah, blah? And just when she walks in, is she saying, hey, can I get you a glass of water? Is she already including you in the family feeling? You don't have that now. Now it's, it's the awkward, hold on, I'm looking for you. You're doing the eyeballs close to the screen, so a lot of this whole thing is about the feeling confident, the body language online, the lighting that we always, giggle about, that silly ring light, all that jazz.
Yeah.
Elka, thank you for always adding. And Monica, thank you. Guys, I appreciate all the information. And this is the way we talk about what's happening in the market, by chatting with everybody and understanding what's happening. I know that Elka's background, because I've watched her grow in her career, or she's been a part of my world a little bit. So I've seen, it's being promoted. Monica will hit that role as well, where now she's in charge of initiating a 3D or a PLM or something for this flame retardant, if they tend to be a little bit, not backwards, but not quite on the pulse yet, because you're talking to industry executives, you know what's out there, you know what's working, and you hear what's happening out there. So I am going to share my screen and give you guys an opportunity
Just
to
one
learn a
last
little.
thing, Amy, if I could say, I mean, in the apparel industry, we are the last to adopt technology.
I know.
mean,
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. It's actually upsetting. That's why we're in this a little bit of a pickle right now. There are industries that understood technology already pre-COVID just got a kick in the pants. We got slapped on the face, and we're like getting weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. Yeah, exactly. And not for profits and things that don't always use a lot of technology because they're very interpersonal relationships. So what I am going to do is, I want to share my screen for a minute and share a little bit about, hold on, I'm losing my, hold on. Okay, let's see. Here we go, share screen, okay. I'm going to share my screen and talk for 2 seconds about our coaching. Guys and everyone, you are more than welcome. Elka and Monica have been a part of our coaching in the past. They are amazing. They have both found jobs, which is fantastic. Here is what's going on in the world. And I should jump to the coaching page. Hello, here we go. That's Amy Cole, flat and center in the front. So when I talk about coaching, we have the one-on-one, and we also have Job Search University, which I want to play up today and talk about, and I have for the past few weeks. And if, guys, I'm not trying to be salesy, but if you're interested in this coming Monday, we are going to work on professional profile, which is critical. When I talk about the 5 Ps, which I did not bring up today, but your purpose, your brand, your professional profile is a combination of those 3, meaning you've woven how you deliver your skills and expertise into your expertise, and then your profile is your LinkedIn and your resume. What are you putting out there? What are you articulating? Are you articulating that your value, to Alka's point, is it that it matches their value? Okay, so that is what we're doing this particular Monday's training. And if you'd like to be a part of this, this would be a great week to jump in, because that will be live. Everything in Job Search University is recorded. You can always end up with going back to look at the recording, but this is a place where we master your job search essentials. So you may have worked with me one-on-one, and that's fantastic, and we nailed your profile, and now it's time to take it and put it onto LinkedIn. Now it's time to interact, to network, write your cover letters in that way. We talk about those kind of things. We're building out your confidence so that you nail the interview and land the job, so that you articulate your value when you're networking, so that other people are helping you nail the interview and land the job, because they're handing you the hidden job market. When I say hidden job market, it's because companies have jobs open. Alka does know that. There are a few jobs open, but they're not throwing it out to the world right now. They're either going to try to do it internal, or they're going to use their internal network and put it out to their organization and say, do you know people that would fit here? Why is that important for a company? Saves them time. Internal people already know the culture of the company. So you getting an input from an internal person can give you that edge, so you know the culture also. They love using internal staff to make references and make referrals, because they know, spiraling up again, that someone already working there is going to pick somebody or refer somebody that will work well there. So that would be that. So Job Search University, and quickie, it's high-level training. It's me for an hour, and we have worksheets and things that you need to go through every single week to come prepared, and it ups your game. As Monica says, keeps you going. Update your resume and LinkedIn to stand out, plan your job search. That is a critical element to focusing and finding a role. Planning it. What steps are you taking? If you're networking and you have not nailed your professional profile, you're wasting your time networking. If you can't speak clearly, concisely what your top 3 skills are and what's the benefit to the company, then you're networking just to chat. You're just catching up and seeing how the barbecue went. because if they don't know what you do when they leave the conversation, they can't speak for you. So that's zeroing in on your profile, right? We're going to talk about enhancing your digital presence so that you stand out to hiring managers, and promote your expertise so that you're relevant in the market in that new way. So I'm going to jump off and say hello to everybody in the audience, but if that is something of interest to you, you know, we welcome you. Please feel free, Lisa. I'd love you to throw that in the chat if you could. I can actually do that right now. I'm going to multitask. Check that out. Stop share. Okay. So guys, what I want to ask everybody. Oh, thank you, Lisa Cole. Good job. I want to say hello to some people that I haven't seen in the past. Let me go to Ziona. How are you, my friend? I'm going to say hello. I know you've said to help me and introduce yourself, name, title, industry.
Hi, Amy. How are you? I know it's been a few weeks since I've been on. I apologize.
No, you don't ever have to apologize. We love it. We love it.
So my name is Ziona Yarbrough, and I work in sort of the Amazon channel of things. I had been there for about 10 years, and 3 years ago, I left to work with a company named Brand Strategy, and we sort of help different channels of retail, including like some of the Costco's and Sam's Clubs of the world, also travel retail. But my role at the company is I'm the director of e-commerce, and we work mostly with apparel brands, and we basically manage the entire Amazon channel for them. You know, everything from all the technical back-end stuff that it takes to create product listings, to operational support and marketing to get their products up front and center and in front of customers. And also utilizing the site as a brand building vehicle. So that's kind of the short version of what I do. There's a lot involved with that. And, you know, as you all know, the Amazon world is really where it's happening right now in terms of apparel, as well as everything else. People are not wanting to go out into stores. They're turning to e-commerce. And Amazon is, you know, the best place to go because you can get your product, you know, any order free in 2 days.
Yeah. Are you finding yourself overwhelmed with demand?
It's an interesting, it's kind of an interesting place right now because you would think that would be the case, and businesses that we are managing are, you know, still experiencing double, triple year-over-year increases. But because of everything else that's sort of happening, especially within fashion and apparel space right now, with their other channels really hurting so bad and having, you know, when COVID hit, everybody went on furlough. You know, they furloughed most of their teams. And as soon, you know, they're starting to hire people back, everybody's still working remotely. And there's still a lot of challenges with their other channels, you know, for brick and mortar and things like that. So a lot of companies are not in a position where they want to hire someone like us or spend money on a contract. I apologize.
No, he's adorable. I like she is adorable. Okay, so this is interesting for us to hear because I always value your expertise, and how you and I know each other is from, you know, Lisa, and how, you know, she has a very senior role with the Lucky brand and has always recommended how astute and you ran the business for her. And that if, you know, I just figured you going into your consulting gig you'd be on fire, that every day, every company would call you because you know it from the inside, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, you know, it's like, we did have sort of where it's like, oh my gosh, we're getting all these clients, we have to keep up, we've got to hire, you know, a bigger team. And then it's just kind of like, yeah, whoa, things just kind of slowed down. And, you know, I think a lot of companies, they know they need us. They know they need people like
with your expertise
that can do it and have the expertise, and we can do it efficiently. We know, you know, we don't always have the answers for everything, but 90% of the time we know exactly what to do.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, and we know exactly how to get things done. And, you know, we just recently took on a new brand that it's like they've been struggling for like a year. And, you know, it's like in 2 or 3 months, we've been able to do what they weren't able to do in like, you know, the last year. You know, it's a big brand that kind of just relaunched on Amazon, and it's exciting to do, but, you know, they're still kind of going through the growing pains, and it takes, you know, I have to level set with all my clients. It takes a year to get your business on track on Amazon once it falls, you know, if it's a new business or if it's a business that's kind of
sure. Yeah.
it takes that long. And then you
not a silver bullet.
Yeah, and then you couple, you know, a lot of the challenges that are kind of going on outside of that logistically, you know, getting product in from port, getting product, you know, in from overseas, just pain points with like, you know, getting products from point A to point B, even once it gets in within Amazon's logistics system. It's
Interesting. Okay.
getting the product to the fulfillment centers where Amazon then takes care of getting it to the customer. That's a huge issue right now because there's just there's so much more product that is needing to get moved around into, you know, locations like Amazon's FCs instead of to brick and mortar stores, that it's kind of created this whole shift, as well as, you know, factories are less productive because of COVID and
Yeah.
workforce isn't there to support it. So there's a lot of challenges that are coming up that we sort of never would have expected, and it's been an interesting time.
Well, I'm going to thank you because I'm going to jump in for a second and share something. Thank you very much. And, you know, I love hearing this. I think it's interesting. You know, branding, and I'm going to jump in, guys. We would say immediately that Ziona's business is, how could it not be on fire, right? Everybody needs help understanding what Amazon does and how it works. But even with consulting businesses, they need to understand their brand and the value they bring as they introduce themselves to companies and say, this is why we're going to do this for you. This is how we're going to do this for you. This is how we deliver our skills and expertise. This is how we deliver getting your business onto Amazon, right? So it's the same thing, whether you're a small business, a consultant, or you're your own brand, which we all are. We need that spin of that expertise. And I'm going to concur with Ziona because the other day I spent 40 minutes with the HR director at a company that was one of my #1 clients in the past few years, one of my top 3 for 11 years. And they're on hold using a recruiter. And she said one of their biggest challenges right now is delivery of product. Chinese New Year is usually a big one, right? But now they're having logistics and supply chain issues. So what does that say to Amy Cole? There's roles out there if you are a logistics and supply chain guru and you understand and are willing to embrace automation with PLM systems of logistics and supply chain, okay? Alka's shaking her head. She's in a large corporation, a global organization. They probably are seeing the same things. So when we listen to people speaking, then that's what's happening. Take a listen. I did listen to that when the HR girl told me that. I decided, wow, that's interesting. I remember, I don't know if it was 2 years ago, who knows? Remember when all the boats and all they can't get containers today. They can't even, there's a shortage of containers to put the products in, so therefore they can't put it on ships. I remember when there was a time in LA, if anyone remembers this, when the ships were off of the coast of LA, Monica's shaking her head, a couple of people are shaking their head. And what happened was the product was in our port, but not in our distribution centers. And therefore we are absorbing costs and the store is not getting it and we're losing sales. Right? Apparel, manufacturing, services, everything is a logistics and a supply chain. Recruiting, girl calls me, gives me the job description, I go find them, they interview, they then get the job, they have to start. It's a process. Everything's a process. All things need to be hitting on all cylinders for the process to work. So if you're good at project management in logistics and supply chain, good at project management in technical design, good at project management in design, understanding product development, anything, a service, getting clients on board, whether you're a service in sales of some sort, we are all dealing with issues of supply, demand, and delivery. All right. Anyway, I could get into that because that's another JSU talking about the basics of how every business runs and how do you fit into it. But your transferable skills are valuable. So please take a minute and figure out what organizations, what industries with your skills would be a nice fit and how do you package those. And we will see you next Wednesday, or we'll see you on JSU this coming Monday. Guys, think about joining this week. The next one is, thank you, Alka. Thank you, Monica. Big fat kiss. And listen, take care of yourselves. Take care of your body. Move the shoulder. Move the shoulder, everybody. That's it. Move the shoulder. Move the shoulder. All right. Bye, guys. I'll see you next Wednesday. Talk to you later.